So this is the result of my final project. As you can see here, the lens flare effect is generated in the center of the scene. The inner part of this flare is the ghost, and the outer part is halo. Now we can change the attributes of this lens flare effect. So the threshold bias and the threshold scale are for selecting the brightest pixels in the scene. And this is the ghost alpha, which is for the intensity of the ghost. And this is the ghost number. This is ghost dispersal. And then is the weight of the ghost. Here is the halo alpha, which is for the intensity of the halo. It's the outer part of this lens flare effect. And halo width, the size of the halo. And the weight of the halo. And chromatic distortion. If we change this value, we can clearly see the three channel of the effect. And star alpha, which is the star burst on top of the lens dirt. It's a texture rendered on the lens flare effect. And this is the color gradient alpha. Dust alpha, which is the lens dirt. And finally the blur radius. We use Gaussian blur here. So because this is image based, so if we move, the ghost changes because the pixels selected to participate in this lens flare effect change as well while we move. So in my code, I implemented this lens flare effect in those fragment shaders and one simple vertex shader. So in this lens flare fragment shader, as you can see, we got a couple of uniforms, which are the attributes used for generating our effect. So here is the first stage. We use these two functions to do our downsample and threshold, which is for reducing the cost of following stages, and selecting a subset of the brightest pixels in the source image to participate in the lens flare. So here we flipped the image by flipping the texture coordinates, and here it's the calculation of our ghost vector. And this is for the chromatic distortion effect. And this loop is our ghost sampling loop, which generates our ghost. So here is the linear flow out from the center. This one is for generating the halo. And here is the starburst effect. And this one is for the color gradient effect. And here is the lens dirt. So the first three effects, as we can see here, chromatic distortion, our ghost, and halo, we add them together, and in this starburst effect and this color gradient and dust, we multiply them together to get the final result. So after generating those lens flare features and those enhancements, we can apply our blur effect in this fragment shader. So we use Gaussian blur to achieve that. And in our blend fragment shader, we blend the generated effect, generated lens flare effect with our original source image. We mix them together to get the final result.